Morning. We're in Mark chapter 14, and Mark continues to take us at a fast pace. Here we are, Maundy Thursday, in the middle of, actually at the end of June. It's an unusual prospect, but as we go through these events of Maundy Thursday over the course of a number of hours, we notice that Jesus must have experienced such vast range of emotions. See, when we look at Scripture and look at the Gospel accounts, we often forget to identify Jesus' humanity. And yet, it's here for us in black and white, particularly when we look at verses 33 and 34. Jesus took Peter, James, and John along with him, and he began to be deeply distressed and troubled. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death," he said to them. "Stay here and keep watch." See, this chapter takes us from Jesus' anointing, his body being anointed with very expensive perfume, his body being prepared for burial, an act of such devotion, such love, to then Jesus telling the disciples, his closest friends, those 12 that he has spent 3 close years of ministry with, that one of them was to betray him. How that must have hurt. To then responding to Peter's affirmation, Peter saying, "I will stick close." And Jesus says, "No, truly I tell you, you tonight, before the cock crows twice, will you yourself disown me 3 times. Peter, the one who Jesus could rely on, now is going to deny him. And then when Jesus takes them to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, they can't even stay awake. 3 times Jesus finds them asleep. They can't even do this small thing for Jesus. I know I can identify with it. There are often times when we come to pray, and when you enter that quiet place with God, it is so easy to slip into that place of sleep. That's what the disciples were doing. And yet Peter had promised that they would stick with him. Jesus then is arrested. He's brought before the Sanhedrin court and put under trial. He's condemned as worthy of death. And Peter denies him when challenged by others. Zooming in to this mix of emotion and to these reactions and these contrasts that appear throughout this chapter, I want us to look at this first section where this woman, who's identified in a couple of the other Gospel accounts as Mary, sister of Martha and Lazarus, one of Jesus' closest friends, this woman pours out this perfume in abundance upon Jesus. This pure nard, we know, we're told, is worth about a year's wages. Very, very expensive. And this extravagant love that this woman demonstrates to Jesus just seems to wash over the heads of some present. Because as this is happening, some of them say indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? What a waste of money. What is she doing?" It appears that Judas Iscariot was one of them, because after this, we're told in verse 10, then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to seek to betray Jesus to them. Judas turned his back on this extravagant love, turns his back on Jesus, and seeks to betray him. What a contrast. For us, for me, I know in my life, I can identify with Peter here. There are times when I have not spoken up for Jesus, when I have denied him. And yet we know when we look at Peter's life, particularly the end of Luke's gospel account, we know that, at the end of John's gospel account, we know that Peter was restored. Peter's love for Jesus held fast despite denying him. He denied him out of fear. May our love hold fast, unlike that of Judas, who smirked at the woman's love for Jesus, turned his back on Jesus and sought to betray him. May we hold fast to Jesus. May our love hold fast. Even in those times when we make mistakes, slip up, not speak up. May we be quick to identify those mistakes, to come back to Jesus and seek his forgiveness, and to love him with our whole being. So, be blessed, stay safe, continue to love one another, continue to love Jesus, and stay close to him, being watchful and prayerful.